Utah, thank you so much. Thank you. This is so great. It's my first time in Utah, and this is incredible. Yeah. Thank you. The only thing I knew about Utah is that your basketball team is called the Jazz. And then I got here, and everybody looked like you guys. The Jazz? Is it the smooth jazz? Strong John Tesh, Kenny G energy around here. No, but it's great. I'm so glad to be here. This is so fantastic. Something you should know about me right off the top is I was homeschooled the whole way through without a TV or the internet. Might want to adjust your expectations a little bit. Your boy's got some deficits, okay? I don't know a lot of things. I like to call myself a lifelong learner because I'm pretty sure it's going to take me that long to catch up. But when you're homeschooled, you do realize pretty quickly that it's probably not going to matter how well you do. Like, even if you work really hard, graduate top of your class, like my brother did, at best, you're gonna know a little bit less than your parents. Listen, my parents are great. I love them to death. Wonderful people. But neither one of them went to college. It's actually not that big a deal. But it does mean that I basically graduated with an early 1970s high school education. So I did go to college. And I remember my first day, some guy comes up to me, hands me a flyer, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to do something about global warming?" And I was like, "Hey man, I'm not sure what that is, but would you like to get our boys out of Vietnam? What about that? Why don't we get rid of Nixon? He seems bad." I grew up in Texas, right outside of San Antonio, so I was born and raised. And I don't know how much you know about San Antonio, but it's about 65% Hispanic. It's a wonderful city. But growing up, a lot of the kids called me Wedo. I don't know if that's a term you've heard, Wedo. I heard it so much growing up, I just assumed it was Spanish for Jeremy. It's not. It's actually Spanish for white boy, which is English for Jeremy. So, wasn't completely wrong. A lot of Jeremys here tonight. No, I liked growing up in Texas. It's a great place, especially if you're homeschooled, because most people can't tell. Listen, we were called the Lone Star State for a reason. It was by the Department of Education, and it was our rating, okay? We've earned a lot of stereotypes down there. We have. I learned a little while ago that in Norway, they use Texas as another word for crazy. And I read this, and I was like, no way. So I did some more Googling. It's absolutely true. They've been doing it for a long time. I also learned while I was Googling that in Texas, a lot of people have been using Norway as another word for Finland, Iceland, Denmark, IKEA, like... We're real bad at geometry down there, you guys. It's a tough subject. It's a real tough. One time I told that story and a lady in the audience was like, I think you meant geography? And I was like, no ma'am. I definitely meant Norway. I'm not even sure geography is a real country, to be honest with you. I'll have to ask my parents. My whole family, they still live down there, and they're all very Texas, as the Norwegians would say. Here's how Texas my parents are. For Christmas this past year, they bought each other guns. Christmas guns. I honestly think it was a good thing. I think it's a sign that they still deeply love each other. Because I just don't think you buy your partner a gun unless you're really sure things are going to end up well. I don't want to get into the politics of guns. I think we can all agree, though, that if you do decide to introduce firearms into your relationship, you should both get one. Because a marriage where only one person has a gun is really just a hostage situation. And a true marriage is a union between two equally armed people locked in a Cold War for all eternity. My wife and I were very old-fashioned. No guns. It's just hand-to-hand combat and the silent treatment. Actually, last time I was down in Texas, I saw a guy with a t-shirt that said, "If Jesus had a gun, he'd still be alive." I know. I was like, buddy, you didn't finish that story, did you? Surprise ending. Well, how does this guy imagine it would have gone down if Jesus did have a gun? Like they come to arrest him and take him to the cross, and he's just like, "Not today, Satan. You come at the King of Kings, you best not miss. Now start saying your prayers, because you're about to meet my dad." That's silly. I grew up in the church. I was a youth group kid. That's where you make most of your friends when you're homeschooled. And me and my friends, we started a Christian rock band when we were 16. I don't know if you're familiar with Christian rock. It's just like regular rock, but usually not as good. Which is why it really hurts when your Christian rock band doesn't make it. Because you're like, man, we didn't even have to be that talented. And that's when you got to call the band together for a meeting and be like, well, Malachi, Zachariah, Jeff from public school. Guess it just wasn't God's will, huh? And that's when God's like, hold on a second, that wasn't anybody's will, okay? Don't blame that on me. I like regular rock. A lot of my youth group friends wore promise rings, or purity rings. I don't know if y'all are familiar with those here. Some sad nods from people still wearing theirs. I didn't wear one. If you're not familiar, it's just a ring that teens would wear to let the world know that they were just as big a nerd in private as they are in public until they get married. And I didn't wear one. I didn't have to because I was homeschooled. So that would be redundant. I realized really quickly, actually, that a nice pair of handmade corduroy pants sewn by my mom sent the exact same message, you guys. Yeah. Called them my purity pants. Any belt can be a chastity belt if you're wearing your purity pants. You guys. I did eventually get married, and it's great. I love being married so much. I've done it twice. And very excited. I also have 5 kids. Yeah, oh. I love it. Everywhere else in the country, people are like, what? 5 kids? But in Utah, they're like, he's just getting started. What else? Nobody's surprised. Yeah, it's great. They're not all mine. I've got 4 sons from my first marriage. They're all basically teenagers now. And then I picked up a little stepdaughter off of free agency a couple of years ago that I'm very excited about. It's very cool. But I love being a dad. It's a lot of kids, but I love being a dad, especially when I look like I could be one of them. That makes it fun. I went and had lunch with my 5th grader not too long ago, and he introduced me to one of the kids in his class. And this kid was a good 2 or 3 inches taller than me, probably 15 pounds of chicken nuggets heavier, and had the most gorgeous mustache I have ever seen on a child. And so my son introduces me to this girl, and I'm not making this up. She looks right at me and she goes, "Did you get beat up a lot in elementary school? Because you look like you got beat up a lot in elementary school." And I was like, "No, I was homeschooled. I think this will be my first time." She ended up being really nice, though, and I didn't get beat up. But I did stay for recess, and we played basketball with the kids. And I was on my son's team. His name is Elliot. And our team was just killing it because, not to brag, but I'm like really good at 5th grade basketball. And so we're just crushing the other team, and a little boy on the other team gets mad, and he slams the ball down, and he goes, "Man, of course they're winning. They've got Elliot's brother on their team. He's almost a grown man." If you ever find yourself arguing with an elementary schooler about whether you are a real man or not, you've already lost. There's nothing you can do. He's got to take your ball and go home like a grown man. You got to have coping strategies when you have a lot of kids. Y'all know this. One of my favorite ones is hiding in the bathroom. Yeah, that's where the real dads are. Yeah, hiding in the bathroom. It's my favorite thing. I had the kids all to myself the other night for dinner, and things got so crazy around the table, I just took my whole meal, plate, drink, everything, into the bathroom and finished it there. And I had 20 minutes of me time until they found me. And now we can't go back to that Applebee's. But I would totally do it again. I'll do it at Chili's next time. I don't care. No, I took up running when we had kids. It's a good stress reliever, running, because you can just imagine yourself never stopping. And no, I always come back. But the other day I went out on a run, and I saw one of my son's friends running towards me on the same trail. And he had been at our house the night before. We'd watched the movie and played some games and stuff. And so he's running towards me, and as we pass, I go for the high five, and I go, "Hey man, great time last night." And he just got a weird look on his face and kept on running, which is when I realized it was not the same kid. And I was like, what do I do? I can't chase him. And what would I say if I caught him? That wouldn't sound totally creepy. Young man, I'm so sorry. I made a huge mistake. It was actually a different teenage boy I had a great time with last night. He looked just like you. I'm so sorry. My bad. Can't do that. I just gotta stop talking to people when I'm on a run. It never goes well. I went for a run on a track near my house, and it was kind of late in the evening, and there was one middle-aged white lady walking the track, and as I was coming up to pass her the first time, I tried to warn her because I didn't want to startle her, so I'm like, I'm coming up on the left, and she can't hear me because she's got her earbuds in. And so I go to pass, and she jumps and goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to murder me." And what I should have said was, "Sorry," and kept running. But instead, my brain tried to make a joke. The only thing that came out was, "Haha, no, next time." Yeah, not the right thing to say, especially not when you are running on a loop. So I just went home, because I support women. My youngest son is 12 now, and he's my favorite because he's the best one. Now, people always tighten up when I talk about parents having favorites. It's not that weird. Clap it up if you know your parents had favorites. Yeah. Those of you that didn't clap, sorry to break it to you, that just means you weren't it. Every parent has favorites, and it changes all the time. It's not a big deal. But I love this boy. He was recently diagnosed with ADHD, which was a really helpful diagnosis so that we could kind of understand why he is the way he's always been. And it made me think of the first time he ever played organized basketball. He was 7 or 8. And I had the distinct privilege and honor of being his coach because none of the other parents volunteered. And the day before our first practice, I got a message from the YMCA letting me know that they were going to be placing a little boy with special needs on my team. And I was like, wonderful. That's great. I can't wait to meet him. And then I spent the rest of the season trying to figure out which little boy it was. I don't know if you've ever seen 7- and 8-year-olds all playing basketball together for the first time. I was like, it could be any of them. Is it all of them? And now I know it was actually my kid the whole time. So, well played, YMCA. My stepdaughter, she's our youngest. She's 8. She calls me her bonus dad. I know, it's super cute. And I get it. She's trying to set the expectation for our relationship. She's like, I don't know, I guess I'll take him, but can't just assume he's always going to be around. He's not my salary dad. I like to tease her and call her my timeshare daughter. She thinks it's because she spends part of her time at our house and part of her time with her salary dad. But it's actually because I got talked into her by a real pretty saleswoman promising me a fun-free weekend, no strings attached. And now I've got a long-term contract and maintenance fees that I can't get out of. Usually not even available on the weekends we really want her, so. We always want her, We're a mixed family. My wife and stepdaughter are both vegan. And me and my sons are all healthy. So, working through that. Been eating a lot of Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers. These are plant-based meat alternatives, right? So scientists have figured out a way to get a bunch of plants and vegetables, run them through a process, and get a kind of meat. Which is pretty cool, but it's also what cows have been doing for hundreds of years. They just do it way better. I think somebody needs to come up with a meat-based plant alternative for people who don't like vegetables. It could just be like ground beef, dyed green, and you can shape it into whatever little vegetable you want. Call it possibly burger. We're at the grocery store all the time. My favorite is Costco. I love Costco. Everyone at Costco, it looks like either they believe they're going to live forever or the end of the world is nigh. There's no in between. And it's full of optimists. Costco's full of optimists. I love to see like an 80-year-old woman with a box of like 900 butter cookies. She's like, what are you going to do with those, Ethel? Put them in your will? Like, what's the move here? My favorite thing about Costco is they never ask me if I want to round up. They're like, we've taken enough of this man's money. We'll let him keep his change. Every other grocery store I go into now, it's like, hey, do you want to round up that 17 cents up to $1 and donate it to charity? I mean, I have no problem donating to charity. I think that's a great idea, but that's not how math works. Even I know, if it's 50 cents or more, you round up. If it's under 50 cents, you round. Has the grocery store ever asked you if you wanted to round down? I think we got to start taking the initiative. Be like, hey, you want to round that $49 down to $0 and help feed some hungry children in your local community? Because I've got 5 of them in my car right now. All right, that's it for me. My name's Jeremy Alder. You guys have been so great.